I often spend time talking about sort of what we might call fad diets or these special name diets or these plans. And a lot of times, like when let's use carnivore as an example, they say that it's the best way because your body can't digest certain starches, that you should be a carnivore. And they're trying to rely on a principle. They're trying to rely on a fact to get you to do what they're doing. But the problem is that it's not really applicable. Like when you take the fact that they're talking about and try to apply it, it actually doesn't work the way that they're saying. This is also similar to the carb insulin model. And the insulin model talks about, if you have more carbs, your insulin raises higher. That means you store more fat, more so than if you had protein or fat. And although they found some studies where insulin glucose raises insulin levels, what they end up finding when they actually look at it is that as soon as you have glucose with something else, it blunts that response. Now, it might not blunt it in your blood immediately, but the overall response is not a detrimental insulin spike. And newsflash, if you want to gain muscle, you need an insulin spike, not just fat. You need the storage hormone insulin to help you when you want to make muscle too. But that's another story for another day. Carbs, the keto idea, that's just an extension of that. Some of these people that promote just high intensity interval training because it's the way to burn the most amount of calories. Yeah, they have found some studies. In principle, it's the one that helps you the most. But in application, it's not actually true. And in application, it doesn't even make that much of a difference. Same thing as, what time of day that you eat, how many meals do you have, how long you might fast for. All these things might be mentioned to you and preached to you where they're relying on the principle being true, but in application it's not. And that's the same thing for, let's say, fasted cardio. Yes, it's true that you use more fat when you're doing fasted cardio. But if your overall day is not in a calorie deficit, that is only true in principle and not in application. So the fact that you're doing fasted cardio actually doesn't matter much, because the more important aspect of it is that you're in a calorie deficit. Same thing with keto. Your body burns more fat when you're in keto. Okay, but it also stores more fat. It just becomes the currency of choice for your body. So what they're relying on is that it's true in principle. And that's what they're trying to sell you on. That's what they're writing their books about. That's what they're creating their programs about. And they're hoping that you buy it. Buy into it or buy it. But in the end, it is not true in application. And the good news is it's not true in application. And you can find multiple ways to get there. And you don't have to be low carb. And you don't have to do fasted cardio. And you don't have to do carnivore diet. And you don't have to be vegetarian, etc., etc. Those things might be true in some studies in principle. But in application, they don't hold enough water to even be something that you have to focus on. So remember, when somebody's pushing for a certain specific way to do things, they're selling something. They want you to buy something or buy into something for some other reason, because they're relying on being true on principle, but they're not talking about the application.